is opposed to it for unknown reasons. Anyway, it's kept it in the courts for, gosh, I can't tell you how long it's been. We have a proposal for a double diamond, which I think Michael, probably Lacrosse, will explain to us this morning. And with that, why don't you take it over?
Thank you, Senator. Good morning, everybody. Good to see you again. I'm going to share my screen.
Just tell us a little something about the issue here, and for those
Sure.
who aren't aware of it.
Okay. I believe you can see my screen. Please let me know if you cannot.
Yes, we can.
Okay. So thank you, Senator Mazza. I think you gave a pretty good description as to where the location of the project is. It is at I-89 exit 16 between.
Where Costco is. If people have been to Costco, that's where it is.
Yep, absolutely.
One of the issues that the opposition is against. So anyway.
Yep. So really today, we're just going to talk briefly about the project for those who aren't aware of it. We'll just talk real quickly about what the corridor's problems are. US Route 7 has a lot of safety issues. It has been on the high crash location list for quite a while now. The last high crash location list showed about 109 crashes, which is third highest in Vermont for injuries. So when people collide along this corridor, we're sending folks to the hospital. So this is a problem for this corridor for quite a while. Additionally, it has a lot of traffic capacity issues as well. We have heavy delays for vehicles traveling in and out of the corridor. A lot of it has to do with the development, and it's just a popular commuting location for folks trying to get in and out of Colchester. Additionally, the corridor also has lack of bicycle and pedestrian facilities out there right now today. For an example, folks who walk, particularly to and from Winooski to, say, the Shaw's grocery store on Mountain View Drive, they have no place to walk other than in the grass areas. And there's so much pedestrian movement out there that they've essentially carved out what's colloquially known as a goat path, just beyond the curb along both sides of the roadway. So we know there's a heavy pedestrian movement, and we know there's a significant bicycle movement as well through here. Additionally, the corridor has no stormwater treatment facilities, and that's something the agency looks at when we're programming and improving new projects. And there's a significant amount of buried in aerial utilities up and down this corridor, primarily due to the growth of development in the Water Tower Hill area. One of the non-issues with the interchange at exit 16 is that the fact that the interchange bridges are still in a relatively good condition, and that will factor into what we scoped to solve these issues in a moment. So really, we're going to address pretty much everything that I just spoke about. So we're going to address stormwater. We're going to be correcting the roadway banking, new roadway infrastructure, signs, markings, signals, the whole 9 yards. But the heart of the project really is what's called the DDI, Diverging Diamond Interchange. For those who are not familiar with the DDI, this is what it looks like. It looks complicated, and I'll step you through how it operates in a moment. It really does not exaggerate the existing footprint terribly. So we're able to save a lot of the larger infrastructure, such as the bridges, while accommodating all the traffic that's out there and while improving the safety for all users. So this is what the Colchester DDI would look like rendered. This is an artist visualization of it, and I'll show a little bit more of this in a moment. Just talking about DDIs in general real quick. Right now in the United States has 113 DDIs, and there's another 157 in the works. So states cannot build these fast enough. They want to build them and pump them out into as many diamond interchanges as they possibly can, and for good reason. They're showing 60% reduction in crashes, 50% reduction in delay, vehicular delay. And they're built in all different sizes too. So they're flexible in terms of where you can put them. A case example I like to use is in Sarasota, Florida. They built one of theirs in 2018. It's a 5x5 DDI, which means it's 5 vehicular lanes in each direction. So it's a massive DDI. It's 70, 80,000 vehicles a day that go through this DDI. And just in the first 10 months since they opened it, they were seeing an automatic reduction of 50% in crashes, and they were showing a 40% reduction in commuter delay through it. And that's a 5x5 DDI. So these are extremely efficient and very effective. I'm going to attempt to show you a little bit of a video of kind of how traffic flows through a DDI, and I'll kind of I'll describe it as I play it. Let's see if it plays. So hopefully you're seeing some movement here. And what you're seeing is US Route 7, which is left and right. And you'll see traffic moving left to right, which is south to north. And they are crossing at the first signalized intersection where the southbound ramps occur. And they're crossing over to the left side of the road. They travel underneath the interstate bridges on the left side until they come to the next signalized intersection at the northbound ramps, at which point they stop and allow the southbound traffic, which is moving on Route 7, or they can just slide right onto the interstate without having to wait for a traffic signal. And that's really the beauty in the DDIs, is that vehicles can make left turn movements without having to wait for a traffic signal. In the existing condition now, the majority of the traffic condition that's occurring out there is due to heavy left turning traffic. So if we can unsignalize those folks, get them moving through the interchange without having to wait for a signal, the overall efficiency of the interchange will be enhanced.
Where's Costco? I'm sorry,
Yeah.
Senator Mazza, can I ask a question?
Sure, go right ahead. Yeah.
Where's Costco? Can you put your arrow where Costco is right there?
Costco is just below here at the very bottom.
Okay.
This is the Hampton Inn, and
Yep. Okay.
so it would be down
On
a
your
little
street.
bit.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you.
Sure. And then if that was still a little confusing to you, I'll show you a quick snip of what it would look like if you were driving through the DDI on Route 7, as if you're heading from Winooski to Costco. So you would approach at a slow speed, and you'll come to the first signalized intersection, and you'll cross over. And the markings and the signs guide you through to make sure that there's no little confusion when you're crossing over to the left side and driving on the left side. And then you cross back to the right side of the road at the next green light. And then in this particular clip, if you wanted to go to Costco, for instance, you would take a right this intersection, or if you wanted to go to Shaw's or Water Tower Hill, you would take a left. Or if you wanted to go to Senator Mazza's house, you could go straight ahead. So with this project, we are also addressing the lack of multimodal facilities. So accommodating bicyclists and pedestrians, like I said earlier, the current corridor does not do that. The DDI will do that, and pedestrians will have dedicated sidewalks and bike paths to negotiate the entire length of the interchange. And then bicyclists will be able to use the bike paths if they're uncomfortable using, taking a lane in traffic. Leading into and out of the interchange, there'll be paved shoulders for the bicyclists, and with the green pavement markings that you may have seen on the roads today.
Right
So
now, if you walk on that bridge now, you have to walk right in the highway if you walk underneath that.
Yeah, absolutely. Right now, you can kind of see it in this photo here, but we're going to carve out the space behind the existing bridge piers, and we're going to put those bike paths in behind there. And right now, people have to walk. They kind of have to hunch under get around, or they actually take literally their lives in their own hands and actually walk in the roadway where there's hardly any shoulder at all. So this will greatly improve conditions for those folks as well.
And if I may add something to that.
Go
Sure.
ahead. Yes.
So in Green Mountain Transit, I know that there's been a lot of advocacy to get a bus route to get to the Shaws up there, because it's the closest large grocery store for the town of Winooski. And so you see people carrying bags of groceries.
Right. Yep.
Really in need of better pedestrian facilities.
Yes, and part of this project, we are going to be putting in a bus stop on the southwest corner of the Mountain View Drive intersection to help accommodate some of those folks that use that bus route.
You can bring them right to Senator Mazza's store too, if you want.
Quite a ways away.
So status-wise, the project is moving along, slow but steady, but we are getting there. Maybe I should probably do this one first. We've completed all of our project permitting. We've gotten our Act 250 permits, our stormwater permits, our wetland permits. All those are now officially in hand. They've all been challenged, and we have successfully defended them and have obtained them. The last critical piece to this before construction will be acquiring the necessary rights of way from the private property owners. We currently have 8 parcels. We've agreed, or we've come to terms with almost all of the parcels except for 8, plus 2 leasees. And there was 30, I believe we started off with 30 or 32 parcels. So we've made significant progress on that front. Unfortunately, the owners of the 8 parcels that are still in question have challenged us. And we will need to go to civil court to condemn those parcels. And that hearing is scheduled for this April. So that's coming up really shortly. Once we have that necessity order in hand, we can condemn and pay fair market value for those parcels that we're acquiring. And then we can move into construction contracting. We're going to break out the construction into 2 phases, 2 contracts. The first contract would be primarily made up of utility work. We're going to probably build some retaining walls as well. And that first contract, we would like to construct in 2022. That work does not require right of way. So if for whatever reason our right of way is challenged in Supreme Court, we can still go to construction on this first contract. We have completed, or not completed, we are ongoing in our public outreach efforts. Similarly to the Burlington roundabout that I spoke to you folks the other day about, we've hired WSP. They have a lot of experience in this. The interesting piece about public outreach for this project is that there's an education component to it in addition. And because the DDI is so new, especially for Vermont, we really wanted to put a significant investment in educating folks on how it works, how it operates. And we feel like that this would be a success the more people we outreach to. And we've talked to other states that have undergone this process as well, and education, according to them, has gone a long ways.
I might add, Mike, add
Yes.
one thing. The reason this has been held up for so many years is not because of Costco. It's when Costco asked for gasoline pumps. And then there was the appeals started from one individual who was opposed to the gas pumps. And so that's what started this many years of delays. It wasn't Costco in general, because the town had approved it. Everyone was satisfied with the Costco until the proposal of gasoline pumps. And that started the postponement for many years. Thank you. Go ahead.
Sure.
May I ask a question, Senator Mazza?
Go ahead.
2 slides back, you used the term condemnation. I'm new to this arena. How is that different than eminent domain?
Well, eminent condemnation, I'm not a right-of-way expert, I'll put that out front, but condemnation in my understanding is that it's a form of eminent domain. I think there's a lot of misconceptions as to what eminent domain really is, but it's defined in the United States Constitution under the 14th Amendment, I believe. And we, as a public agency, can essentially condemn, quote unquote, execute an eminent domain process in which we acquire those parcels for the public good in exchange for fair market value, a financial compensation. So they're really sort of the same thing. Condemnation is just a form of eminent domain, as far as I'm aware. I think there's a lot of folks that think that eminent domain is just the agency coming in and just stealing the property, just taking it. But that doesn't happen. We are required by statute, both federal and state statute, to fairly compensate those individuals. But we have to demonstrate to a court of law that the project is in the public good, which is necessary for the public. So just a couple of shots of what we are trying to do for public outreach. Like I said, education is a huge component to this project. This is a picture of our booth that we took at the Champlain Valley Fair a couple of years ago. We have quite a bit of printed material, plus we also have a driving simulator, which you see on your right here, which is an actual video game steering wheel with a laptop with software on it, and you can just barely see it, but there's pedals on the ground here as well. This is what the simulator looks like when you're to get into it. Like I said, it looks like a video game. And we've set it up so that folks can drive the new interchange in various directions. This is kind of what a screenshot of that would look like. It's fairly realistic. The video game makers actually took our construction 3D model and actually overlaid it into their video game engine and came up with this simulator. The simulator is set up so that folks could drive it without having to worry about crashing or messing up. And that's what these green paths are made up for. It's really because it's an education tool. We're just trying to show people how to navigate it. Something we just started additionally for public outreach last week is we're starting a quarterly newsletter just so that folks don't lose track of the project because, as Senator Mazza pointed out, it has taken us some time to get to this point. So we have consistent and timely, frequent outreach and engagement with the people, particularly during COVID, because we weren't able to set up our booth and our simulator like we were hoping to over the last year and a half. So this is just another form of outreach that we're conducting. And that's what I have for status at this point on the Exit 16 project.
We still got a year or so to wait for anything to happen.
Yes, it looks that way. And like I said before, we won't need right-of-way certification for that first phase of work. So our hope is to have boots in the ground at the interchange in 1 year.
This is one of those issues where, I love Act 250, but boys, the appeals can go on forever and ever and ever. And the money that's spent is just unbelievable. And there's just no end to it. The minute one appeal stops, there's another one, there's another one, there's another one. It just, this interstate was never made, or this area was never made for the traffic there is today, and it just has to be upgraded. And, there's so many new businesses and things, but it just goes to show you what someone can do to slow down progress, which would be so much safer and so much faster to get through because the traffic is there. It's a tremendous amount of traffic, but I guess we'll have to just hang in there and be patient. But boys, they spent a lot of money over the years. Yes, Senator Ingalls.
And the application of the diamond system is better than a roundabout in here. It works better. Was a roundabout ever considered, or it's just not the right application for a roundabout?
That's a great question. Actually, we did look at roundabouts early on, and particularly at the scoping phase of the project. The RPC actually looked at dual lane roundabouts at each of the ramp termini. And because of the volume of traffic out there, the roundabouts would have to be dual lanes. And what was happening in the modeling, the predictive traffic modeling, was that it was gridlocking. And so the roundabouts weren't really an effective solution at this particular location.
Got to get you down here at Chittenden County Center, Ingles, get some of that money and spend it down here,
I flew over it once.
Any other questions this morning about this project? Thank you, Michael. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Great job. And we'll stay tuned, and someday you'll have some good news for us. Thank you.
I will. Thank you.
Is Senator Kitchell with us this morning? No, I don't think she joined us.
Just barely.
Oh, okay. All right. How are you?
Well, it's been a very crazy morning already. So
Already? Wow.
and I've just talked to Ann Cummings, and that was sad. So I